Go.
Can you make sure I'm in frame?
Justin, you were in frame.
I look good?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Hey guys, I'm Justin Cummings from Overly Animated, and I just binged all the Saw movies, so Trace brought me on to help out talking about JigSaw.
Hey guys, so what's up? I just saw JigSaw. It's directed by the Sprec brothers. You know, I've never seen any of the Saw movies beforehand, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into while going to see it. And you know what? I had a pretty good time watching this movie. The movie opens up with Detective Holland and Lieutenant Hunt as Jigsaw murders resume after 10 years of the death of John Kramer, the original Jigsaw killer. They are now seemingly hunting a dead man. As bodies pop up, Holland and Hunt are accompanied by Nelson and his assistant Eleanor to discover if a ghost or a copycat is at work.
Meanwhile, the games have resumed after 10 years of them being absent. 5 people are trapped in an abandoned barn, and we see them fight for their lives in a new group test created by Jigsaw, a copycat, one of his apprentices. We have no idea. The film leaves you guessing till the very end who's actually doing the killings anymore.
Oh, jeez. Traps were cool, and this isn't the movie's fault, but none of the deaths, none of the gore bothered me. To me, it was more fun, fake gore, and that's cool, but I think moviegoers and just people in general today are so desensitized to everything. We're so used to seeing things. Things that bother me are like watching Glenn get his head bashed in The Walking Dead. Realistic stuff. This stuff didn't really bother me all that much. It was cool and fun to watch, especially the laser collar scene you'll know when you see the movie.
So overall, I really like this movie. I never got to see a Saw movie as a kid. I just binged them all this week. And so to fulfill that kind of childhood fear of watching a Saw movie in theaters, it was exactly what I wanted. From the moment the opening music hit, I was on the edge of my seat, and the film kept me guessing, and I really enjoyed it. It was just a great time at the theater. If you're a fan of the series, it's a payoff. It kind of simplifies the history a bit, and if you watch it and you've seen the other movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. They kind of cut down a bit on certain aspects of the other movies. However, if you're a fan and you've seen the other movies, you will be rewarded. Several traps from the older films pop up in little cameos. Characters are mentioned here and there, events from other films. Maybe not as much as you're used to from the other films as far as flashbacks, but it is rewarding if you've seen them. And there's a big, big, big payoff if you've seen the other movies that is more than worth your money.
I've never seen a Saw film, not even to this day. I didn't even watch the 11-minute recap on YouTube about what the Saw films are about. So again, I went into this completely blind, not really expecting a whole lot. I actually thought I would kind of hate this movie, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was kind of, it was short. That was one good thing about it. It was short. It wasn't too long. It didn't, drag on too much. The traps were really kind of fun to watch. I just had a good time. You have to do, for me, this is my opinion. This movie isn't anything great, but on a Friday night, turn your brain off and just enjoy a movie. And it had a really good twist at the end. I really enjoyed the twist. I kind of, applauded the movie, and it kind of made me like the movie a little bit more. So that's what I think of this movie.
To talk about the traps a little bit more, if you're expecting later movie Saw traps, don't go, because this movie I'd say has about as many traps as Saw 1, maybe 2. They definitely pulled back, and after Saw the Final Chapter, where you had a trap in a dream sequence, you had traps and flashbacks for 5 seconds that were really, really dumb, like monkey bars over lawnmower blades. That was when I was done with the series. After that horrendous nightmare, this really reeled it back in, and I think that was what they needed to do. This movie is more about the detectives than probably any other Saw movie. So if you want a little bit of a different take on the franchise and a little bit different direction, this works really, really well. The gore, a little more than Saw 1, a lot less than the later films like 5 and 6, and especially 7. And I know, I was worried about the laser collar too in the trailer with the stupid little laser lights pointing up. I was so worried about that in the trailer. Don't worry, it has a good story payoff and is actually one of my favorite traps in the film and has a really, really cool twist a la Saw 1 in it. So if you're excited about the traps, lower your expectations a little bit. If you like the detective parts you saw in the trailer, those really hit the high mark.
So guys, with this movie, I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 5, and that's not a bad score. Again, I was expecting a lot less from this movie. I actually quite enjoyed myself, and it was nice and short. It didn't drag on too long. The traps were cool. The detective work and story, I wasn't like, really fascinated with it. I just kept wanting to go back to the traps. But it did pay off in the end with a great twist. I had a lot of fun, and the audience had a lot of fun. When the twist was revealed, I kind of like looked around. People were really into this movie in the theater, at least in my theater. I had a pretty good time. So yeah, just turn your brain off, had a good, enjoy the movie. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
So guys, this is my first ever time scoring on this channel, so I might be overestimating, but I give Jigsaw a 4 out of 5, not necessarily for the film itself. It's a good film, it's not a masterpiece, it's no great shakes, but for bringing back Saw after the final chapter, which is a steaming pile of garbage, as I have said, for revitalizing it, taking it in a fresh direction, leaving me on the edge of my seat, and giving me probably the best theater experience I've ever had in my life, I have to give it a 4 out of 5 because it truly brought back a dead franchise. And if we get a sequel, I will go see it opening night again. And it takes a lot for me to do that. So 4 out of 5. Massive spoiler alert.
Start over. I just now do it.
Massive spoiler alert. If you don't want any spoilers, do not watch this part. Tune out, go away, go see the movie. It's worth your money. Just go. If you're ready for spoilers, finally, after all this time, after 10 years, who is the Jigsaw killer now? Who is the copycat? If you've watched the Saw movies, you might have several guesses, and the answer is none of them. We see Jigsaw take off the pig mask, and it's John Kramer. And the entire theater went nuts. You had whispers, it's Jigsaw, it's him, he's back. I'm furious at this point. I think they've gone full on Jason Voorhees, brought him back from the dead, supernatural stuff. And then all the pieces fall into place, and it's been there the entire time if you're careful. This is not the same timeline as the detective stuff. Slowly they reveal it. This took place before the events of Saw 1. The Saw movies are known for their flashbacks, and this series has the largest time gap of any Saw movie between its timelines. They pulled a Saw 2/Saw 4. They completely messed with the timelines, and they got me. I should have noticed. It's there from the beginning. Jigsaw doesn't wear the mask. He doesn't have the video camera for the traps. He only has the loudspeaker. He appears in person to the people, something he only ever did for Cecil, his very first victim. So all the clues are there that it's before most of the main traps. But I still didn't get it. I still thought it was a copycat. I still didn't believe it. So if that's in the past, who's doing it now? And the answer is Nelson. They finally reveal that the person we think we see die is actually Nelson. He's alive, and that the body we see are imitation games played by Nelson of 3 people to imitate the 5, and the last 2 are him and Halloran, and it's as convoluted as any Saw twist there is. I'd put it up there with like 2 level of crazy twist, maybe 4 if you know what I'm talking about. But ultimately we find out that Nelson did it, and he used people that Halloran let off. Halloran's a crooked cop. Halloran deserves his fate. And Nelson doesn't give Halloran a chance to escape. And if you know the Saw movies, you know Jigsaw thinks that is a big, big no-no. So, as far as room for a sequel, Eleanor's still alive. And I love the character of Eleanor. She is my favorite part of the movie. She is a Jigsaw fanatic, crazy. I originally thought she was the kid from Saw 3. I don't think she is, but that would be a cool twist because these things happen out of nowhere. But they left room for a sequel, right? If this is still the same timeline, where's Dr. Gordon? Did Hoffman actually die? Where are all these other parts? Who were the other 2 pig mask people in Saw 7? And so there's plenty of room for a sequel. I wouldn't mind a sequel. I would love a sequel, especially if we got more Eleanor. But even if this is the final installment and it's just a standalone swan song, this is a much better final movie than Saw 7 was. And I am so, so glad if they end here. But I do want more, because Nelson committed the cardinal sin of Jigsaw apprentices, which is a big no-no, which means he's going to get some comeuppance soon. So, there it is. There's the big twist.
So guys, that was our Jigsaw review. I want to thank Justin for helping me out on this puzzling review, because without you, well, I'd be in pieces.
Fun fact, the human blender we see in the film was actually supposed to be the judge's trap in Saw 3.
Didn't know that. Glad he's here.
Oh, thank you.
Also, check out Justin on Overly Animated, and if you like him, he might be on more reviews in the future.
Please like me.
Please like him. Please like us.
Like us.
Alright guys, we're signing out. See you later.
Bye.